Hey, here's a logo.
All right, I guess it's time to discuss the big news. I have tested positive for COVID-19. I mean, thankfully, I'm feeling a lot better now. I was quite ill when I got tested, but yeah, it was pretty surprising. I mean, all the precautions, I'm wearing masks quite diligently, more so than any of the other people I've been hanging out with. Yeah, so what happened? Well, I went to a friend's place. There's a few guys there. I think there was maybe about five of us. And a friend of ours stopped by and, thought nothing of it. He goes there frequently. And, he was there for a couple hours. We had a meal and then, the night was over. Everyone went home. And then the next day he fell ill. So he went and got tested. And so then on Saturday morning, I had gotten a call that had said, well, hey, this guy's tested positive. And, we were all freaked out. This was Thursday night that he had come by. So it had been about 36 hours. So my friends and I, we all just locked down in our various apartments and homes. And waited to see what would happen. And then on Sunday evening, I started coming down with a fever. And it wasn't a big fever. I was maybe max about 38.5, but it fluctuated constantly. Like 1 minute I'd be at 38.5, a half hour later I'd be at, 37 and a half. And then it would go back up again. And then suddenly I'd feel better and a half hour later it'd be back. And sometimes taking Panadol would work, sometimes it wouldn't. And then I lost all appetite, had no desire to eat, felt a bit lethargic. And that's when I knew, yeah, that there's going to be a problem. And that's when I knew that this wasn't good. Friends of mine were hopeful that, maybe it was something I ate because I didn't have a cough. I hadn't lost my sense of taste or smell. It seemed to have all the makings of, mild food poisoning. So maybe that was it. And no, none of the other guys had tested positive so far. But I hadn't gone to get tested because it only been about 36 hours. So maybe by the time I got fever, it was about 72 hours. So then I managed to get down to the clinic to get tested. Oh, and that was a journey in and of itself. Anyway, whatever. Get to that later. But then on Tuesday, I got the word back that I was positive. And by then I'd had this fever now for 3 days. My appetite had just started to come back though, but I hadn't really had any other symptoms. And well, lucky for me, the fever then went away and my appetite came back. Got some muscle aches. So then suddenly like the muscles in my back started feeling sore, and it depended on, you know, when, like sometimes it was some parts of my back, then other times it was other parts, and it was sore like you had over exercised them, as opposed to like back pain that you get from, just like back problems. And that persisted for a couple of days. And then I got a really stuffy nose. It was really strange. It was like you're coming down with a cold and you have a stuffy, runny nose, but you had no other symptoms of a cold. And now I've pretty much recovered from that. And that's been it. So how did I feel about all this when I got the diagnosis? I don't know. I mean, you'd figure I'd be like really worried and anxious, right? Because I've got COVID now, and who knows what's going to happen? Am I going to wind up in the hospital? Am I going to need a ventilator? I could possibly die. Okay, the chances of me dying were, it was pretty unlikely. I figured maybe about 1 in 150 chance. Luckily, I'm not obese. I don't have any of these sort of health problems like heart disease and so forth that can be a factor in COVID outcomes. And I had been diligently taking vitamin D and other vitamins from the beginning of the COVID crisis in early 2020. Diligently. I've been on at least 2,500 to 3,000 IU of vitamin D every day without fail. So, I had done all I could. I had lost a good 10 kilos just to make sure to help keep my weight down. And it worked out. I mean, I had what I guess we could consider a mild case so far. It's day 8. I know things can come out of the blue, and who knows, some other weird symptom might come along. But let's just stay hopeful here. Right now, I feel completely fine after about 3 miserable days and a few days of mildish symptoms. So all good. But I guess the lesson out there is, you really do have to be careful. It really doesn't take much for you to get this. I mean, I was in a room with someone who turned out to be positive, and they were asymptomatic. They didn't know until the next day that they were ill. And I was wearing a mask. They weren't, annoyingly. And really, masks are more to protect others from you. It's less effective at protecting you from others. So it really would have probably been for the best if they had worn a mask as well, but neither here nor there. And then that was it, and I caught it. Now, the tests from that guy, it turned out he was quite contagious, yet no one else who had been in the room managed to catch it, thankfully. No one knows how that happened. We're thinking maybe the air currents or something, like maybe he was standing next to, an air conditioner or fan or whatever, and it was blowing his breath across the room, and I happened to be there. We don't know, but I was the only one who caught it. Everyone's tested now, some of them twice, and everyone else has come back negative. So, yeah, I got lucky. This could have been a lot worse. Please be careful out there. There's not much time before everyone will have a vaccine, and maybe this will be over with. I know there's new variants going around, and will the vaccines be effective against them? I don't know. But, you've got to be careful. Please, just everyone wear a mask, social distance. I know you're all tired about all this lockdown and having to try to stay safe, but it's just another month or 2 more, and we should all get through this. Stay safe out there, okay?